You all right, Janie? So my job right now, in addition to making sure Jane doesn't walk in front of traffic, I want to talk a little bit about the Defiance episode. Anybody see it last night? The butcher of Yosemite, Joshua Nolan, is actually being brought to justice in South America some way for the Botanist Collective. He was hallucinating as a result of the Arctech in his head, and actually basically assassinated the VC vice chancellor or whatever, the person who was ready for peace. Strangely enough, the daughter of the person who was killed that began the Pale Wars. Let's check on Jane real quick. Humbug, humbug. Janie. So, not only did we have the triumphant return of Datak Tarr, as like a VC attaché, basically, but we also had the return of, I can't remember his name, the Omek's daughter was back. I mean, let's look at some of the things that Datak Tarr has been through. I mean, the guy has not had it easy. He's the criminal boss of the underworld in Defiance, and we've talked about that before. He's in a sort of like a land war with Rafe McCauley. I mean, in the very first episode, he accuses Rafe of actually planting people in the crowd to cheer louder for him, to make it look like Datak was not as beloved by the townspeople, when in fact he was probably feared. I mean, he's basically like the mob boss. And later he goes on to win mayor of Defiance, and he finds out that he was betrayed by the EREP colonel there, I can't remember his name, and murders him in cold blood right there in the office. Ends up spending most of season 2 in prison. Stama takes over, is trying to groom Alak to kind of take over and sort of follow her lead. And one of the best scenes in the whole show, he comes back. He gets out of prison, he comes back, and Alak and Stama are in that bath. And he just walks in, he gets in the tub, and all the dirt is coming off him from the prison, and it's dirtying the water, and it's really, really symbolic of him washing away everything that's happened to him, and it's washing away the last however many months that he's been in captivity, and basically saying to his family, you're part of this. Now you can sit in it, just like I had to. And then I believe he just goes right for Stama's throat and tries to kill her right there. That was a pretty, obviously, intense scene. So you look at Datak as a guy who then comes back from that, has to sort of live under the yoke of his wife, which in caste culture is really it's dishonor, is what it is. So he eventually regains some control. He has to kill some of his own men just to kind of send a message to them that he is the one who's in control. So anyway, Datak, as we talked about, Datak is back. Now serving with the VC, and they think he's some kind of like a folk hero in Defiance. Little do they know that his presence there is not going to smooth anything over for Amanda Rosewater and the rest of Defiance. So just to skip ahead to not belabor the point, Nolan is now being taken to South America for trial, as we said before, and Irissa has to go with him. And the Omek, I don't believe he was so stupid to not notice that Doc Yule had the control chip in her neck. I thought that was sort of a break from character, or maybe he's not as wise. He's letting his guard down a little bit. Maybe he's so wrapped up in this notion of, living in a new unified world where there's no longer like a dread harvest. What a cool term that is for something, by the way, the dread harvest. Reminds me of something in World of Warcraft with the Scourge. The fact that Tevkin would allow himself to be taken like that, I thought was a little bit out of character for him. And, I mean, they know that Nolan is seeing stuff, and he's hallucinating, and he's got that Arctech in his head, but yet he's still out wandering the streets on such an important night. There should have been somebody with him. I know Irissa was keeping an eye on him, but she can't control her adopted father. One thing I want to talk about with the show this season that has been amazing have been the flashbacks. The scenes where... that shows a younger Nolan right after the Pale Wars with a very young Irissa, and they've got the one guy, the one Irathiant on the like strung up basically, and they're torturing him, and Nolan kills him in cold blood right there. Amazing scene. A lot of really great character moments. In the part where Irissa almost kills Nolan because she's so scared of him, really speaks to her character, especially her character arc this season. And how do we not talk about the scenes on the Casti homeworld? I know it's not called Casti. Actually, the planet itself does have another name. But actually going back, I think for the first time, seeing the Votanus system, seeing anything that was set there, was amazing. Let me just finish this thought for a second. When we're talking about like Battlestar Galactica, how they did the prequel Caprica that was set on the 12 colonies when they were in their heyday, that was a little bit of a misfire, I know, because it was such a radical departure from the tone of Battlestar Galactica, which was a hardcore, gritty military drama, to actually have the prequel be, much more tame by comparison. I had high hopes for Blood and Chrome, the prequel featuring a young Husker Adama. So Datak's father, again played by Tony Curran, amazing scenes, really spoke to his character. Really spoke to his character. My name is Datak Tarr, and I have come to kill you. Even at a young age, he's playing with the charge blade. He knows this is his destiny. And his father is trying to teach him that he's just a boy. He's not ready for that yet, and it's too dangerous of a lifestyle. He's really trying to guide him at this young age. And when he wins the 2 tickets off his homeworld, and he comes back for his father, they never show his mother. I don't know if they mentioned her. Leave me a comment if you remember what happened to Datak's mother. I don't remember. She probably passed away, but Datak's father is so interested in honor and loyalty, he's going to stay put and take care of these scrolls. They're sacred scrolls. He's going to die with the scrolls. And I thought that spoke to his character as well, and how it was ingrained on Datak from a very young age that he needs to be concerned with honor above all else. And he has tried. I think blowing up the arch, he thought he was doing the right thing. He was protecting his family. But you've really got to give it to the people of Defiance. Now they've got Shtama back, and now Datak is standing proudly with the VC. You've got 2 terrorists. And yes, they've been pardoned, but I'm going to be reviewing Homeland as well in October, and some of the sacrifices that our own government has to make, letting convicted terrorists go. It's reality, and it really is. It's almost like ripped from the headlines. And on a SyFy show, I think that's saying a lot. Obviously, the 2 biggest hanging plot threads here are Nolan's trial and how he's going to get away. I know Amanda said to Irissa, get him out of there, bribe a guard, and just run. Go to Antarctica. Not going to happen. They're going to be back in Defiance, and I bet Nolan's name is going to be cleared. They're going to somehow figure out how the Arctech works and clear his name, basically. And of course, what Kinsey is going to do. Now, her father is supposedly in stasis, and she is bloodthirsty. She wants to feed, and she's not going to stop until she's killed. There's only one way to stop her, and they've got to get that control chip out of Doc Yule. Someone's got to notice it and realize what's going on. Hopefully after this there's some kind of like an investigation, and they can figure out what's going on with Doc Yule and stop it, and then she can come back to the side of the good, if you will. The scene in her office where she's like, just pull it out, and she just can't. It's stopping her was good. One more thing I want to mention. It doesn't ring true to me that in the Votanus system, every 76 years the Omek world came within range of the other VC planets. If they have such advanced technology in these ships, they could get around in their own star system. I mean, I assume all these planets orbit the same star, or they're multiple stars. It just didn't ring true to me that only every 76 years they could interact with these other races and do this harvest. What did they eat for the other 75 years? I mean, I don't think they have McDonald's on the Omek homeworld, is all I'm saying. So, looking forward to the episode Friday. Let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll see you next time.